While everyone is waiting, can share that some random things that's the play to earn that I'm encountering a lot. So some of you might know I do a lot of advisory consulting. A lot of people reach out to me for this for Web3 stuff, NFT stuff, and play to earn. And I just want to say that there's actually a lot of misconceptions for play to earn. It's like the idea that, oh, just play or do whatever and then you earn. It's like amazing, right? Conceptually, it sounds great. But the thing is that if you think about the economy, it's like every dollar or every money in a sense you make is given by someone else. And there, and so a lot of people give an example, X Infinity. So the reason why X Infinity works because I talk about when you design an economy, there's a few things. There's labor in, there's skill leverage, there's the luck factor, et cetera, et cetera. But let's not go into all that. The most basic thing is labor in. So if someone plays a game for 1,000 hours and they get an item, and someone else does not want to spend 1,000 hours playing this game, then they'll pay this guy $1,000 worth of time. And this works especially well with like exchange rate differences, right? So in one place, 1,000 hours of wage is like 20 hours for another place. So it's like I pay you 20 hours of my time and I get 1,000 hours of your time. So it works out. But the key is that if you're doing something and generating these coins, yeah, you're earning these coins, but the coins need to have some kind of value in terms of someone has to pay you another coin, US dollar, or at least a produce like a carrot. And that needs to be defined. It's not just coins magically just have value. So and just let's go of the funny exaggerated example. Let's say there's a fart coin, right? Every time you fart, you record it. I don't know. Maybe this really exists. I don't know. But let's say, and it's like, yay, amazing, fart to earn. I just fart and I earn coins. I earn fart coins. But then the key thing is that people still have to believe this fart coin is worth something. So they would buy that fart coin from you with, again, dollars or carrots or Bitcoin, whatnot. And so, yeah, you're earning something, but that something may be nothing. And that's why there needs to be this meaning built into this coin. People have to believe in it. There has to be they utility like again, if the coin saves people thousands of hours in a game, yes. Then if everyone wants to play the game, then it's valuable. If it gives people a cosmetic like status in the game, then yeah, it's valuable. Is it worth $800,000? Maybe not. Maybe yes. That's everyone up to everyone. But the key
Well,
thing is that there's all this thing about play to earn, do whatever to earn, and you just want to know that the core of that earn is it's you still have to connect it to some kind of value in terms of labor, in terms of utility. So just I get hit up with this a lot, like
well,
something to
let's
earn.
follow that question. So first of all, I know you get paid tens of thousands of dollars for your consulting, and is that your go-to example?
I haven't brought this up in consulting cases, but yeah, why not? Why not? You might as well bring up something that stands out more as memorable. But I just thought about this like 3 days ago, and I've done it in like two speeches now.
So on that question, you cut on the play to earn, most games are using certain core drives, right? Because when you play the game, you're not earning money. Right? Let's say I'm playing Super Mario, and so I'm not earning money. So what is the core drive that is pulling me in to continue playing Super Mario or Fortnite or any of these games?
Yeah, there's a variety from the right brain core drives to like you're using your creativity to come with strategies. There's a social element core drive five. There's unpredictability, delightful. So those are the right brain core drives. Then there's the left brain core drives, feeling progress and accumulating in-game items and
Mm.
the scarcity. They sometimes have an epic meaning called storytelling. And if you don't do well, so there's a little bit of a penalty that sometimes is like stimulating because if game's too easy, then it's not fun. So but that's all in game. Once you quit the game, it's all lost.
Yeah. So what I'm getting at is when you then introduce something like play to earn, where the user is now playing the game, not necessarily for the fun of it, but to make money. How does that shift the motivations and the core drives of the user?
Yeah, that's something called over justification effect, which is our brain starts to think that we are doing it just for the money, for the outcome. And you see this example of where someone has a hobby, right? Like chess or whatever, and they become a pro and they do it for money. And at that point, they lose their passion for it. It's not longer fun anymore because their brain thinks I'm doing it for money and it's a grind. And you can see like a good example for Axie Infinity. I went on, I don't know, I think it was Reddit, and I was just researching people asking like, how much money did you make? And they're like, oh, I'm negative 200 and I need to just make enough to at least break even. And so it's like, for some people, it's just like a grind, like a job. They don't find delight. And of course, the game design could still be fun and exciting. But sometimes when something becomes a huge amount, then you get really stressed. If I love chess, I used to be a chess coach, but and I've played a chess game where if I win, I'll get $1 million. If I lose, my family will starve. I don't think I can actually enjoy the game. It's just all about the money now.
Yeah,
So there is that issue of you're only thinking about extrinsic gain.
I see. I see. So I think this is super interesting. I hope people are finding this conversation interesting about how to gamify and how that gamification aspect affects the core drive of a user when playing a game. I have one more question, and we're going to get into the MetaBlocks topics. Yukai, in your book, I'm a fan of your book, by the way. In your
Well,
book, you write about a school that had a problem where the parents were being late at pickup, and they did something that affect how see this pickup. And so previously, some parents were late and they implemented something so that more parents would be on time. And what ended up happening was the opposite. Could you explain that a little bit?
sure. I think this is a school in Israel, like a daycare center in Israel, and they wanted parents to show up on time. So they put a penalty. I think if you're late, you get charged $3. And any traditional economist will tell you, yeah, if you put a penalty on something, less people will do this behavior. But in fact, a lot more parents became late because before they showed up because a sense of epic meaning calling and social influence, which are 1 in 5. And it's like, oh, I want to be a responsible parent, don't want to be burden the teachers. So they show up. And then it shifts from that high intrinsic white hat motivation to the a lower extrinsic black hat motivation. Like, oh, it's $3. So now you justify it. Now you feel like it's like, oh, well, if I paid the $3, then I basically earn the right to be late. And so when parents are like, oh, this my meeting's pretty important, it's worth $3. So now it becomes a transaction. It went from intrinsic, I'm a good parent, to transactional. Hey, it's $3 pretty cheap. So more parents were late. And then when they saw the system not working, they canceled that. And the parents were still late because they said, wow, now it's the same transaction, but now it's even cheaper or free. So again, that over justification happens. Now, again, it's because it switched from a higher intrinsic motivation to a lower extrinsic motivation, right? If they said, hey, we're going to charge you $1,000 if you're late, I guarantee a lot less parents will be late. But because it's a black hat motivation, they won't feel comfortable. The moment they can escape and switch schools, they will want to. One better design that if you want to be equally black hat, it would be like every minute you're late, and some schools actually do this now. I think in San Francisco too. Every minute you're late, you lose like a few dollars. Then it's like, yeah, then I like every minute you're feeling you're losing something, then you'll likely want to show up. It still gives you a lot of pressure and stress. So it's not gamification design that delights people. It's black hat motivation, but it'll probably work better.
Yeah, we go to school here, and my daughters go to school here in San Francisco. They don't do that. They'll just call you on the phone, and so you feel that pressure. But the reason I asked this, so bring up a good point. When you all of a sudden bring in a different core drive, which is CD8, but then you think about how that affects your time. So the example you give is, well, if I'm in a meeting, my meeting is worth more than $20 of my time, for example. So that's great. I'll just pay the $20 and it's okay for me to be late. Doesn't that affect the play to industry very harshly? And I mean that because, for example, I was going to introduce Axie Infinity to my younger brother. And I tell my younger brother, hey, this seems like a good way to earn. I think that's what I heard, anyways. But what ends up happening is now when I introduce anybody in the US to Axie Infinity, they're really balancing now their time. It's like, if this is play to earn and I'm only earning like $2 an hour, it may be a good earning rate at different regions of the world. But here in the US, it's not. So now it's not even for the fun of it. There's no way I would play it because it's only $2 an hour. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is beyond just play to earn. There's some people who want to just play games for money, right? And again, everything has to go back to fundamental economics concepts. And it's hard to make good hourly rate on games, especially in the same area, because let's say you find a gold mine and you go in and mine the gold and you're like, yay, and I could sell this gold for good money. But then there's like 20 million kids, like 13-year-olds, who are just mining it for fun. They just love doing it. They do it for free anyway. And they want to do it 8 hours every day because they just love doing it. They play this game. And so it's very hard for you to get a profitable return from mining because all these kids are selling their gold from this mine everywhere, and its gold's no longer worth that much because they brought down the labor. So this is because people are passionate about playing games, they could actually lower that amount. So some people say, yeah, I played this game for like a month and I earned $200. Yay, that's great because usually you don't make any money when you play a game. But if you play the game because you are trying to make money, and especially if you're in the US. Now, of course, people do it because they feel like, oh, the money I earn could even increase in value because this coin could go up, all that stuff. And it's just investing,
Yeah.
right? It's like you literally could just take the same money and invest in something else like Bitcoin. It isn't like playing the game and suddenly it's you're making $10,000 because it went up in the future.
Yep.